Usually, you can cooperate with the ruling party or the government on the basis of issues. If the issues that they are handling, be it law or anything else, if it is correct, if it is in the interest of the citizens of the country, it will do good for them, support it. Don't fight with them only because of politics. Support it. And if they are not doing their work, then keep raising the issues which need to be raised in the parliament or in an assembly, and work towards making them realize that they ought to do it. If they fail to realize that, at least people will realize that you are at it all the time, and then they will realize that maybe they need to give you a chance to do what you need to do. So that's the way I would handle.
So now we'll get a true legal perspective on this. As I said, elected representatives are actually lawmakers. So what does one who represents clean politics do? Does he become a lawmaker? Is he an activist? Is he everything and put in between? As a lawyer, how do you see your elected representative?
See, I'll go a little deeper than this.
Sure.
Today's administrative and legal framework which is there in our country, it was brought in by the British. And British was there to rule over us. British has different intentions. They had not the intention of give us good governance. When the country got independence, our laws have not changed. They have not been revisited. They have not been reworked. The political parties and the political leaders who had the who had tasted the blood of being in power somehow that time. Unfortunately, the legal framework and existing administrative framework, if they do not get changed and revisited from the point of view of ruling over India to giving us good governance, things will not change. And that is why, in fact, I spent quite good time on this in understanding that how do we make substantial change, the change which will change. It is not by activism, in my understanding. Activism can do the patchwork. But at the end of the day, आप अगर नीम के पेड़ को पूजा करते रहें, तो अमरूद और आम तो उससे आएगा नहीं. अगर आप ये देखें आज की पॉलिटिक्स का करतूत, एफडीआई पर बीएसपी और एसपी जो देश को बोलती रही कि भाई हम तो इसके खिलाफ हैं, और सीबीआई का थोड़ा सा स्क्रू अप करने से उन्होंने इसके गवर्नमेंट का साथ दे दिया. ये कैसे बदलेंगे आप? हाउ विल यू चेंज दिस? आई डोंट थिंक you'll be able to change this by normal agitations and normal fasts. You have to get into the parliament. Unless you put in your attempts, your blood. Hats off to the guys. I mean, people like Arvind, though it's a long way to go. It's not easy. It's not at all easy. I understand. Absolutely. The path is uphill. And all of us, if this attempt made by the middle class in particularly, I say this movement has been a middle class. If this fails, I don't think we get a chance. All of us, it's you and I, who have to take up this uphill task and change the entire structure. Patchwork will not do. You cannot expect people like Lalu Yadav and Mulayam Singh Yadav to, and particularly I'm naming people, I don't hesitate. They cannot give. They're not literate. They cannot do the good for the nation. It is you and I who are responsible for them, to get into the parliament. Unless we change that. Good people, you have to get into the parliament. And then only things will change. So legal perspective, my experience with the courts have been pathetic. Pathetic. I mean, sometime if I'm given a chance, judicial reforms, Arvind's party has made me the convener of Judicial Reforms Committee. And I'm finding it's an uphill task. I don't know what all we need to do to bring our Aam Janta, Aam people, you and I, a taste of justice. Very uphill task.
Thank you.
Mr. Mehta, I answered you that I agree with Arvind partly. I stated what I agreed with. Let me now state what I disagree with. I think it is impractical to say that we will go back to the people and the citizens when any issue point is debated in the parliament or laws are debated. Because it's not possible. You can't call lakhs people in your constituency and ask, what do you think of this law? So I think where I disagree and what will be practical and useful is to have a competent set of people in your think tank. Be it law, be it industry, be it economy, and this think tank with good amount of research and application of mind, keeping in the front that our objective is to do whatever is good for the people and their upliftment and development. Then whatever is right, that is the stand you need to take in the parliament and go ahead. I think that will be easier, faster and more practical.
Please, but we are running really short of time, so make it quick. I'm sorry about that.
You see, there is some misconception about what we've been saying, that we want more and more direct people's participation in the decision-making process of the government. Now, I won't go in details, but as far as the legislature is concerned, out of all the democracies which exist in the world, only 5 countries are there where you don't have referendum and initiative. There is a concept of referendum and initiative. It exists in all the democracies in the world barring 5 countries. India happens to be one of those 5 unfortunate countries. What is a referendum? What is an initiative? Referendum means that if the government passes a law and the people are not happy with the law, the people can actually directly tell the government through a referendum that make this amendment in this law or withdraw this law. Should it not be there in India? Should it be there or should it not be there in India? Suppose initiative is, suppose we want to propose a new law to the parliament. What option do we have today? We keep on lobbying with these parties. When people lobby with these parties, the parties don't listen. But when suppose Mukesh Ambani or Tata's or some industrial house lobbies with the parties, they listen to them. So it is the money that plays a role in the legislative process. Initiative says that if a particular set number of people want to get a law passed in the parliament, then in that case the parliament will have to listen to the people of this country.
So if I have understood you correctly, you are looking at something like what happens in California where you put issues on ballot.
It is one model. We can borrow from that model. There are several, we have put a team together which is studying the way, there are several models available across the globe on what kind of referendum and initiatives can take place. It is existing for the last almost 100 years.
Sure.
So we can borrow from their experiences and design a new model for our own country.
Understood.
This is what we are saying. It's practical, it's doable, it is being done.
Fair enough. All right. So, taking a cue from there, let's say you fight elections and you win and you become the government. Till now, the civil society or the people who promote clean politics have spoken about corruption, they've spoken about various other issues, but a sustainability of clean politics is not just these things. There are a lot more things that the government has to deal with, like foreign policy, defense, a million other things. So, I just want to, I'll just take one issue. How would you, or if you were in power, how would you deal with the challenges of terrorism?
I completely concede that this party is born out of a movement. This movement was an anti-corruption movement, and there were some issues which the movement was espousing: anti-corruption, decentralization of political power, land acquisition, etc. There were 5: right to reject, right to recall, etc. Now the party has been born, and people are immediately asking us, what is your view on this? What is your view on this? What should be relationship with Israel? What should be relationship with Cuba, etc., etc. We put, just like just now Somnath was saying, we put 30 teams together of various experts to go into the details of these issues. Like we have a judicial reforms committee on which Somnath is there and many others are there. These people are studying these issues now We have a team on foreign affairs also. We have a team on terrorism also. We have a team on unemployment, industry, FDI. We have a team on agriculture, land acquisition. There are about 30 to 35 teams that we have put together. They're studying these issues. After studying these issues, they will prepare the first draft in the next 5 to 6 months. And after those drafts, then we will take these drafts to the people and have a larger consultation across the country, and then the party will finalize its position.
So, not that I want to press you a lot on this, but when can we expect something to see in Congress?
By March, you would have the first draft.
By March, we should have the first draft. Right. Before I go to you, sir, I'd like to welcome Nisha. She is late, not of her own accord. She was not informed, so we are sorry about that. We'll figure out why things went wrong, but we really apologize. We'll just get you in. We are in ongoing discussion, so I just want to finish that. Mr. Tambawala, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, well, when it comes to this subject, I'm glad that what Arvind has said, which is what I stated earlier, that if you have the experts and various teams who develop views on what you should do and what you should not do, would be good. Now, as far as Lok Satta is concerned, you know, Lok Satta party was an Andolan, and Dr. Jaiprakash Narayan, retired IAS officer, started this. And in 1996, Forum for Democratic Reform was made. That's a think tank of Lok Satta. And since then, from 1996, on various issues, what have you, national or international, all subjects have been researched. Nationally also, what has been the history, what has been the consequences, and arising out of that, Lok Satta has developed its stand on various issues. And if it's a new subject, the approach is do the research first. Quickly get to the bottom of what is the issue. Have pros and cons. Discuss in the National Council and develop our approach. So that's the way we would deal it.
Thank you. Would you like to add something? Or?
You know, because I happen to be a lawyer,
Sure.
and in judiciary, for example, I've been proposing for a long time, there is a petition pending for years, that just by allowing audio-visual recording of the proceedings in the courts, 60% cases will get over. 60%. And nobody, the petition is pending in the court for years, and dates after dates after dates, they're not even dismissing it. How much does it involve? Being from IIT, I offered the court that I can give you very cheap solution for this. Very, economic solution for this. But they're not agreeing. Can you imagine you are there for hours? You argue there for hours. And what will the order say? Heard, dismissed. So there is no proof. What did you argue? What did you say? What was the judge's behavior? If there is a recording, all of these will become transparent. So you have the intention, you have the views, you have the policy, but who will execute it?
Understood.
And that is why I'm saying this is the need of the hour is that there should be a party, there should be the people, the politicians who really want to help the nation. Okay, there is no court reporter like US. There are a number of things to be learned from developed nations. In US, everything is very beautifully reported. The whole transcript is available. So anybody can tomorrow visit that transcript and see what went wrong where. In our nation, lower court, higher court, Supreme Court, there is no court reporter. There is no record. I don't understand. This is high time. We must get together and demand from the government, demand from the politicians. Come out from your cells and give us justice. This is the time.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to have Ms. Singh speak because she's come late and not of a lower court. But I'm very excited to have her because in my personal opinion, she's the most qualified person to be on the stage. Because we all are, theory. She's won an election. She's done it. And, please applaud. It's worth applauding. It's not easy to win elections. So, so ma'am, we want to hear your story. Only thing is we have like 6 minutes for your story. But, you know, wherever you want to start and wherever you want to end.
Thanks for the glorious introduction. So a quick, maybe a background. I had a very typical corporate career, typical corporate life till about 4 years ago when I left my job to be in the development sector. But the really great thing I think I did was when I contested the elections last year. So I contested the municipal corporation elections in Gurgaon and won them. My motive, thank you. Actually, just, it was one of the most natural decisions I've taken in my life. Though to everybody else it seemed like a very extraordinary step and a very brave step on my part, but it did come very naturally to me, and there were just two things that led me to take this step. One was the potholed roads of Gurgaon. So if you were in Gurgaon, 2 years ago, you'd know what I'm talking about. And the second was the realization that it is much more, it's much faster and much more impactful to change this, change the way things are by being in the system. So that was my thought process, and with that I went into the elections. How I won them, because typically people like us do not really do very well in election results. I think what the 2-3 key factors that helped were that now we are in a digital age. So it was, fairly simple for me to be able to reach out all those voters who were digitally available. So media like internet, like Facebook, like YouTube, mobile, I was able to use these medias to get in touch with voters, tell them about myself, tell them what I stood for, and they got a clarity into what to expect from me if I got elected. And the second thing that was important was that I think people are waiting for good candidates to come out and take charge. I got immense amount of encouragement from all quarters, lot of volunteers who worked on my campaign, and we had a successful result. I think another key thing that is important is when you stand in elections is that you, I will finish, is that you, give enough time to it. I had a campaign that ran for 6 months, and I cringe every time I see people standing, great people standing for elections, but doing it at the last moment, and then not, being able to cover the voter base, make them comfortable about themselves. So these are the things that helped, and yeah, here I am.
Okay, you're not getting off that easy.
Mr. Mehta, just 1 second.
I just want to, you're not getting off that easy, I'm sorry. I need more. No. Okay.
I remember, I don't know whether Risa remembers or not, I was at her house with JP before, when she was preparing for the election. And what we all felt, as he said rightly, probably you didn't give much attention to that. The country is waiting for good candidates. It's high time. Country is waiting for good candidates. If good candidates do come in politics, my idea is and my belief is that our educated countrymen and even people who are not so literate, they do understand now the politics to a great extent, that only good guys can give us good governance. Nisa is an example of that good candidates will win. You must appreciate this fact.
Thank you. So, ma'am, I have a lot of questions. Some I'm going to ask from you and some will, whenever time permits. But some of the key things, how many volunteers did you have? And I worked on around 25 campaigns, from Lok Sabha to MLA to corporators. So what is it that you think that really worked that you could win? Was it your planning? Was it your volunteers? Was it the budget? What was it that you think worked for you that made you win?
See, I don't have a number on the number of volunteers I had, and it's difficult to put a number because people helped me. A person from Hyderabad reached out to me, found me on Facebook, and managed my Facebook account for me. He even improved my website. I have still not met him. A lady in Bangalore called Shantala, she found me on Facebook and connected to me. And she has a wonderful story herself. And she said, I want to come and work on your campaign because I want to also learn, how to, while I help you, I also want the experience of being part of a campaign. There were others who were writing, blogs for me. So, and I didn't even meet them. So I haven't come face to face with them. And then, of course, you need a ground force. Definitely need a ground force. It's not like all digital works and you can sit at your home and reach out to everybody. So there were a lot of such youngsters, people who would come after office, young 20, mid-20s, people who came and campaigned. Every bit matters, in an election. Everybody contributes, and it's those numbers that add and get you that 20% that you need to win actually any election. In our first past the post system, you actually just about need 20% of the votes cast to win an election. So 9 Lok Sabha elections, 1/3 of the seats were won by getting 20%, less than 20% of the votes.
Sure.
So it's the maths that you need to understand.
So can you, whatever you did, can you scale it up? So can you do it for an MLA election? MP, well, let's not go there, but.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I think it can be done. It is actually about scaling it up, right? At the end of the day, it's the number of voters that increases, and definitely it can be done. And I'll come back to Facebook. I have a Facebook account, and people on that Facebook account are from the smallest towns of our country. My own village, my cousins and their friends are on my Facebook account. So an MLA election, an MP election, you have a much mixed population sometimes. Sometimes you could have a completely voter base, but when you have that mixed population, you have to, you can still reach them digitally, at least the youngsters, and then, all the other methods also.
Sure. Thank you so much. I have a lot of questions that I wanted to ask you, but I'm being pressed by the organizers that we are running out of time. So, because I want a lot of audiences to get the chance to participate. So I'm going to, ask the final question, and then we go to the audience. Well, it's a two-part question, actually. Seeing, in the long term, 5 years, 10 years down the line, what are the 3 main challenges that you see for clean politics? If I can start with Mr. Tambawala.
Sure. I see, and we see, 3 main challenges are, like she said, getting clean, competent, and credible candidates. That's one. Second is clean funding. Third is a united front for clean politics. That's the third one.
Mr. Kejriwal.
Actually, I completely agree with the 3 things that you suggested. But it appears that it's almost like a chicken and egg question. If you have clean candidates, how will they win? But Nisha ji has given a good formula. And let me also confess, it's been a long time that I've been dying to meet her. So this PANIIT has brought us together. After this session, I'd like to sit with her and also learn something about how she is. But I completely agree with the 3 challenges that you suggested.
See, what I think, the belief which somehow was not there for, if I go a couple of years back. In fact, even now, a lot of people hesitate that, is it possible to win an election? Can you go to the parliament? What all it involves? Black money? How will you get the funding? But my experience in the recent years, which I have been getting in, the only thing we need is the confidence. If Aam Janata believes they will do, they have to do, this will happen.
Very well said.
This will happen. If all of you need, I have been asking people, the people have been saying that, कैसे जीतोगे, कैसे क्या होगा, पॉलिटिक्स बहुत गंदी चीज है. मैंने कहा आप वोट देंगे? कहते हाँ हम देंगे. जिसको पूछते हैं वो कहते हैं सब वोट देंगे. जब सब वोट देंगे तो हम जीतेंगे कैसे नहीं? ऐसा कोई नहीं मिलता जो कहता है कि हम वोट नहीं देंगे.
You know, I think the challenges have actually gone away. The whole Anna movement has really awakened us to the importance of, taking part in politics. So people are just, I think, waiting out there for, the clean, the competent, the committed people to take up public life. And I think they are waiting to embrace us. We have to figure out a way to send out a message to them. Elections need not be expensive. The money that is spent in elections is definitely what, candidates like this will not spend on, inducements and stuff like that. So, turning the art of elections into a science and getting your message across is all that is required. It's going to happen. It's happening. The time is just right.
Well, thank you so much. We are not in an ordinary room right now. We have some of the best and the brightest of our country. And if you had to tell them very briefly, okay, very briefly, if you had to tell them that this is what you can do for us, what would that be? Why don't we start with you?
You should first of all, I think, leave your cynicism behind. And we've, again, we have reason to leave that. We've seen people come out on the streets during the Anna movement and demand accountability. Become active politically, start thinking about who's your councillor, who's your MLA, what did they promise you, start engaging with them, support the candidates that you believe in, spread the word around about the importance of voting. I think these are the things that every one of us should be doing. Any developed country of the world, the more educated you are, the more likely those people are to vote. In India, it's the reverse. It has been the reverse. The more educated you are, the less the voting percentage. And this is the height of education, I guess, the place where you're sitting. So by that logic, we have to change that logic. We have to start engaging politically.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Bharti, again, very briefly, because there are people out there ready to throw me out.
Sure. In fact, I want each of the giants sitting here, each of us, probably I think even just you feel that you want to become the change agent, things will be done. Each of us, each of the IITian lobby, got to be believing that we want to become the change agent and things will happen.
Thank you.
Financially, intellectually, your physical labor, all of us got to contribute. And I think the kind of IQ sitting in this very hall, if they decide that we have to have a government of our liking, this will happen. That's what I believe in.
Thank you. Mr. Kejriwal.
पिछले 2 साल में अन्ना मूवमेंट और कुछ कर पाया या नहीं कर पाया, लेकिन एक चीज़ तो ज़रूर की है कि 2 साल पहले जब हम बैठ के सोचा करते थे तो हम सोचते थे कि इस देश का कुछ नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन इस 2 साल के बाद अब कम से कम आधे से ज़्यादा लोग ये कहने लग रहे हैं कुछ हो तो सकता है और हमारी ज़िंदगी में ही कुछ हो सकता है. मुझे ये लगता है कि जो भी कुछ भी होना है वो अगले 2 साल में ही हो सकता है. उसके बाद अगर ये मौका चला गया तो अगला मौका फिर 40 साल के बाद आएगा. सो अब आपको तय करना है कि आप इसके अंदर कैसे पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं. तन मन धन से आपको इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करना ही पड़ेगा. यू डोंट हैव एन ऑप्शन.
Well, I agree with each one of them, what they have said. Let me put it a little differently and emphatically. And that is that the onus of making clean politics win is on you. Everyone who is sitting here. Because it just does not end with your one vote. It requires, we are fighting a humongous task. It requires your support in every area. When you are convinced that you want to support, you can influence 100 more people around you. You can, like Arvind said, tan, man, and then dhan. Even funding, clean funding. If you guys decide that you be the manager, we are the workers and the soldiers, you be the managers to ensure that clean politics wins. That will be the only way forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Add one line.
Sure.
एक हमारे यहाँ वॉलंटियर आते हैं, उनका नाम है विजय बाबा, रिक्शा चलाते हैं, बहुत गरीब हैं। आधा दिन वो रिक्शा चलाते हैं और आधा दिन हमारे पर्चे बांटते हैं। तो अगर वो इस देश को बदलने में शामिल हो सकते हैं, अगर उनकी आंखों में आशा है, आप लोग तो बहुत समर्थ हैं, आप लोगों के पास तो पैसा है, टाइम है, सब कुछ है। आप लोग अगर अपना 2 साल दे दो इस देश के लिए, तो ये आज मैं एफिडेविट यहाँ पे साइन करने के लिए तैयार हूं कि 2014 के बाद भारत बदल सकता है।
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a chance for you to ask. Unfortunately, we've kind of run out of time. Do we have a microphone downstairs? I'm coming there, madam. I'm coming for you because they can't hear you. Yeah, but we want everybody to hear you.
And before he gets to the lady, I was sitting the other day with Arvind and saying that, भैया फंड कहाँ से आएगा? ये बहुत लोग वैसे ब्लैक मनी देने को तैयार हैं. He was emphatic in saying that अगर हमारे IIT alumni राजी हो जाएं, तो पैसा ही पैसा हो जाएगा हमारे पास.
Okay, 2 quick questions at the same time. One to Nishaji. With all this effort, when you have come onto the platform in an alien environment, how have you felt you can change? And second to Kejriwal ji and others, how can we on the spot pledge for you, like IIT and PANIIT Reach for India? We are all here to support you, but we don't know what to do.
Meet me after the session, I'll tell you. because they're ready to throw me out, that's why, no other reason. Ma'am.
Yeah, your question was, you wanted to know what changes I have been or how successful I have been. How do I feel? Okay.
That you have entered the environment from a different group or you're not a political class, as we have discussed with Arvind earlier. So when you entered this whole political system from the corporate environment, how did you feel? Did you feel empowered? Did you feel disempowered? Were you able to do the things that you wanted to?
Okay, so, okay, I come from a, corporate background, so obviously, now that the environment that I work in is very different, there is, a lot of unclarity about what is expected. There is no clear accountability from people. So these are the, this is expected. I mean, we know what the issues are. So I don't compare. My only job is to, make a positive impact in whatever I do. It is challenging, definitely a challenging role. It's also frustrating sometimes. It's hugely rewarding at other times. So it's a mixed bag of feelings in that sense. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Kejriwal, you want to respond?
दो ही चीजें आप दे सकते हैं, समय और पैसा. दोनों को दिल खोल के दीजिए. अगर आप दिल्ली में रहते हैं, जो लोग या आपके रिश्तेदार, if you have some friends and relatives staying in Delhi, from day after tomorrow we are starting a huge campaign in Delhi from 10th December to 31st December. The idea is to enroll 90,000 volunteers in the next 21 days. हमारे और political parties के बीच में फर्क क्या है? We have already created a wave across the country. Now we just need to channelize this energy. तो ये पार्टी वाले कहते हैं कि हमारे 10-10 कार्यकर्ता हैं हर पोलिंग बूथ पे. They are all paid people for them. हमारे सारे अनपेड लोग होंगे, हमारे सारे देशभक्त लोग होंगे जो बूथ पे वॉलंटियरिंग करेंगे. So there are 9,000 polling booths in Delhi and we are creating 90,000 volunteers. So अगर आपके friends और relatives दिल्ली में हैं तो उनको कहिए कि कल शाम तक मेरे को email कर दें अपनी details. We'll put them on the job day after tomorrow. For the rest of the people, by 26th January, we are setting up district level committees in 378 districts by 26th January. उसके बाद 26 January के बाद we will go from one municipal ward to municipal ward and village to village enrolling volunteers. So if you want to join in that, email it to me, email your details to me. After 26 January, we will enroll you as a volunteer.
Arvind, can you also give the email ID that they need to use?
My email ID is parivartanindia@gmail.com. Parivartanindia, I mean PARIV. It's not B. Some of you could be Bengalis, so it's not Parivartan. Right.
See,
What I would like to, it's essentially what my friends here are saying. Mentally, physically, and financially, you can support and contribute. Our contact details, I would request the organizers or the moderator to ensure that they are displayed so that you can contact us. We are all national parties. In some districts they are there, they will be there more. We are in 6-7 states. So you will have the contact. You can come forward and contribute in either of these three or all of these three factors. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Bill Gates didn't allow us to get the file, so I'm sorry about the contact details. Sorry? Mr. Gates did not allow us to get the file. Windows is not recognizing my drive.
Oh.
Okay.
So do we need to tell our contact details?
Yes, but just let me take this one question and then we,
just to, Mr. Mehta, just to respond to that query, because that probably would be a question of many other people. Can I? Okay. I have been entrusted with the responsibility of being the coordinator of IIT alumni for this new movement, new party, which Arvind is leading. So in case you have any suggestion or any query or in any way you want to help us, you can reach me as well. I happen to be the president of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So whenever you want, you can write to me and I will channelize your query or your interest to the appropriate person. Thank you.
I have a question to the panel. The people who are educated normally have very big egos. And the British taught the rulers should divide and rule. Now, these people who want to do good for us, why don't they get together and instead of having separate outfits?
Who would you like to ask them? All of them? Who would like to answer? Only two people can answer. Well, he already took
It's a very valid question. देखिए, जब उम्मीद की लहर आती है तो धीरे धीरे सब लोग जुड़ते जाते हैं. पिछले 2 महीने के अंदर हमारा एक्सपीरियंस ये रहा है कि बहुत सारे लोग जुड़ रहे हैं, बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ बातचीत हो रही है और बहुत सारे लोग फेंस पे बैठ के देख रहे हैं कि ये क्या करते हैं, कुछ कर भी पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. So things are happening. And Yogendra Yadav, you all must have heard about him. Yogendra Yadav is working on it. He's talking to many organizations and many of the people are all coming together.
May I?
Sure.
Yeah. It's not a question of Delhi or Mumbai. I am aware, since I've spent 3 years in this, nationally, formations like ours, there are over 32. And people tend to remain their own formations. So I think it's a very important question. Before we can ask people to do unitedly what we expect them to do. We should be united first. And therefore, Arvind is, of course, going to acknowledge this, that with certain level, we are having a discussion to really see how we can work together and be one. And if we succeed in that, I think we would have first fulfilled our responsibility to really go forward and then give a message to others. Because as we have said, if there is a will, there is a way. If there is a strong will to be one, we will find a way. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I cannot take any more questions. I've been told that if I don't give this mic back, I'll be kicked out, not even thrown out. However, without asking the panelists, and I hope they don't kick me, we can meet outside and you can ask as many questions as you want. But, sir, I've promised them, sir, I've promised them I have to keep my word. I understand, but it's a question of my word. So, gentlemen, okay, last point.
Just a second, please. We are having handicapped children outside who are going to perform. Please, sir, just if you can just keep for 1 minute and no more. 1 minute.
That's 60 seconds.
Well, nobody has uttered anything about this word called secular. And this word is being abused by all the political parties, right, left and center. And will you please explain your stand on the secularity? Does it mean that you will have to become an anti-Hindu or pro-Muslim or pro-Christian to become secular? Please.
Who do you want to answer? Only one person can answer. Who?
Could you please repeat the question?
Well, basically, he's asking, what do you mean by secularism? I mean, what is your definition of secularism?
See, would you want to answer? See, the secularism, in fact, this is the most unfortunate part of Indian politics. Each party has chosen religion to be the basis of their vote bank. Somebody has chosen Muslim religion to be their vote bank. Somebody has chosen Hindu religion to be their vote bank. I think this is the worst, and वो हिंदी में एक शब्द है घिनौना, उस तरह की हरकतें हैं इस तरह की वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स के लिए. धर्म कभी भी वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स का आधार नहीं होना चाहिए. और हमारे नजर में being Indian is what is required to be to be eligible for the beneficiary, and that is what we believe in.
Yeah, it's true.
Mr.
I would
Kovala,
say secularity is equality. Equality of opportunities to all citizens and equality of rights.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just the sheer number of questions suggests that the session was a very successful one. Thank you very much for your patience. I thank all the panelists for it, and I apologize to the organizers for going ahead of time. But anybody who has questions, we can meet outside and we can, ask them in peace, and we can have the organizers go ahead with their program. Thank you so much.
Do we give our email address?
Yes, if you can give your whatever contact details you have.
Yeah, I think
60 seconds.
He is given. My email address starts from my name. Mustan is my name. mustan15@yahoo.com. Please write to me for anything you like. Thank you.
My email ID is parivartan, PARIVARTAN, parivartanindia@gmail.com.
You can reach me at Somnath, SOMNATH, at Bharti, BHARTI, Associates, ASSOCIATES.com.
Yeah, my email ID is nishaward30@gmail.com. So NISHAWARD30@gmail.com.
Thank you. I would now request Ms. Rupa Gar, alumni of IIT Roorkee and member of PANIIT US, to kindly step up and hand over the mementos to our panelists. Rupa, are you there?
You work closely. The bus.
So we're going to have to be getting it Congratulations.
I would also like to announce there are now parallel sessions which are about to start. The one which will continue here in the main hall is on investment in rural and urban development. So people who are interested to attend that can stay back. There will be a panel discussion on touching base with the society. At the HJB hall, which is on the left-hand side when you exit from this hall. There's going to be another one on renewable energy resources for sustainable growth, which is in CVR hall, again on the left-hand side when you exit. And the third would be emerging technologies in healthcare bioinformatics, which will be on the right-hand side in the mini hall once you exit. Thanks a lot, panelists. Thanks, Avijit. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. One more announcement. Is Mr. Sudhakar Sonoy here present in the hall? If you could kindly contact Mr. Ronjoy Ghosh in the backstage. Thanks.
are sharing the stage with me. From extreme right, we have one of India's finest young drummers. He hails